Good morning, my Teaserking family. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody had a Russian second Christmas, a good Russian second Christmas. They celebrated yesterday. They always have two Christmases, the 25th, and then they do a Orthodox one. So I hope everybody's well. We hit the Tennessee game very easily. They should have won. They got screwed. There's no way that's a fumble. That's an incomplete pass at the end. The hand was clearly going forward. How is it any different than Tom Brady's tuck rule, where Woodson hits him and his hand was going forward? This guy's hand was clearly going forward. There's no way it was a fumble. They just wanted Jacksonville to win. It's nauseating watching Troy Aikman. He's the worst commentator I've ever heard. Oh, yeah, that was definitely holding. That was definitely pass interference. That wasn't pass interference. He just, whatever the refs say, he just agrees with. This is a guy who played quarterback. There's no way he would agree with it. It's very hard, nauseous to watch a Troy Aikman game. He's just the worst announcer, analyst. He has no thought of his own. He laughs like an idiot. The whole game is just very hard to watch him. Tennessee outplayed Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville, all right, I know I got a Trevor Lawrence lover on in my class. As soon as they blitzed him the whole, like, from the middle of the third quarter, fourth quarter. He didn't do anything. This is the point I make. Yeah, when he's sitting back and they're not blitzing and he hits a receiver, he's okay. That's not the argument. The argument is, how do they handle a blitz? Josh Allen's the same way. Tagliabue. None of them can handle the blitz. So as soon as Tennessee started blitzing him, he disappeared. He couldn't complete a pass. He didn't even understand there was a blitz coming. Now we know at the end, Tennessee's quarterback got blindsided on that play, and they were leading, so he should have been Dobbs should have been more aware of a blitz to protect the ball, because it's the only way they were going to lose was the way they lost with the bad call. But that's what you have to understand. Hey, Teddy. Ultra wide 21.9 fade SF. I don't know what that means. So Jacksonville's going out there. They're terrible. I do like the kid from Georgia. As all the kids from Georgia, this was my bitch with the Lions. They had two late first-round draft picks. Could have drafted two Georgia defensive players, and they wouldn't have the worst defense in the league. Instead, they get an injured wide receiver from Alabama who basically does nothing the whole year, who's basically, not even one of the top five receivers on the team, and you don't need them, as they showed, but their defense sucks. So they could have had two more Georgia defensive players late in the first round because they had the two picks. So again, the trade for a receiver, now it's like, oh, now we need defense. But by the way, the Georgia guys aren't there this year. So it's really stupid. Now in the first game, KC Oakland, I didn't see the first half. I was out working out and then getting my Chinese. So I noticed we got to 44. We should have won it at the end. Really mysterious play. So it's Stidham fumbles at the 30, which I wanted them to drive down. So he fumbles. I go, okay, KC, plenty of time. They'll kick the field goal. We'll win. And they get it to the 20, and it's 1st and 10, nothing. 2nd and 10, nothing. 3rd and 10, they run a little sweep play or off tackle, and of course it goes for 15 yards, and the guy goes to the 5-yard line, and we're fucked. Now, how does that happen? What are they doing? Just run it up the middle, and all you're trying to do is run clock. And how does Oakland not stop it? And then why is KC taking a knee? They're up 31-13. It's not like it's 10-7 and they need to. They need to take a knee. Why do they have Chad Henne in the game? He should get experience. You should be running your offense the last 2 minutes, not taking knees. It's going to come back to bite him. If Mahomes gets hurt, Henne's going to go, well, I can take a knee. That's all I can do. So it was frustrating. That game should have been over. Again, Stidham, how he did against Frisco, and then he against a weak defense like Kansas City was ridiculous. All of a sudden, KC's sacking the quarterback 10 times. Where was Frisco? See, that's what I was expecting against Frisco, a blowout, because Frisco needed the game. And so that's why I went over with it. So I was over 45, and it's 44, and it's very frustrating. So the teaser yesterday was KC over with Tennessee. Tennessee wins very easily. Never in doubt, getting 13. Again, the sham. Jacksonville did not win the game. They got a terrible call against Tennessee for fumbling when it was clearly an incomplete pass. The arm's going forward. It's an incomplete pass. Everybody knows this. So again, I blame whatchamacallit, the Tennessee quarterback, Dobbs. I blame him because he's got to know the blitz. He's got to know we're winning the game. If I got to eat it and run, I don't need to take this risk. And that's what he did. That's just ignorance. And this guy's been in the league 5 years. Pittsburgh drafted him. Didn't anybody go through, hey, if they blitz, you might get blindsided. Maybe you got to pick up the blitz. He doesn't know this after 6 years. So I think Tennessee, Dobbs kind of screws him. Has a good first half. He doesn't show up in the second half. Again, the pressure, there's more blitzing and less scoring. So it does stay under, which I thought, but I like Tennessee, and 13 was a joke. So let's go through today's games. And we noticed two things right off the bat, Buffalo and Cincinnati. Now, watching the game, I got more clarification on these stupid rules. So because they canceled the game because somebody gets hurt, which was a joke in the first place, they go ahead and now they say, well, Buffalo, you have to win today or you're going to play at KC. But if you win today, it'll be a neutral site. And the same with Cincinnati. What the fuck are they doing? These guys are a bunch of morons. So now they have to win. Or you're going to put it on a neutral site because they played one game less. Why didn't they just play the fucking game or play it the next day? There's injuries in every game. Every game there's somebody injured. Who cares? And this whole foundation, I'm going to throw up. Oh, that's where number 3. And, oh, my God, the guy had an injury. Get over it. It happens. It's football. What the fuck are they doing? Oh, my God, let's take a knee for number 3 because he got injured. Well, the guy fucking's got to learn how to tackle. I mean, if you don't tackle with your chest, you tackle with your shoulder. So what is, the guy doesn't know what he's doing, and then they go and they make this big thing. It's just too hard to watch. So I can't watch until after the national anthem. I'll just wait till they kick off. Then I'll start turning the games on. All right, let's go through the lines as we know, and then we'll go through our games. We've got an hour till the games. Miami, 3.5, 37.5. Don't know why they start with that one. Pitt, 2.5, 39.5. Down from 40.5. A little bit of under. Yeah, maybe. Indy, 3, 37.5. Atlanta, 4.5, 40.5. So they're starting with the nothing games. New Orleans, 3.5, 41.5. Where's that? Uh, 3.5, 40. That hasn't moved. Buffalo is now 8.5. I thought it would be higher, but 8.5, 43.5. Cincinnati's now up to 11.5. I looked at my bet, and I got him at 6. So Teaserking is smart. Cincinnati's going to kill him, especially they got Huntley in. They would have killed him with Jackson. It didn't matter. Mini, 7, 42.5. Mini's all over the place. 2.5, 5.5, 7.5, and now we're back to 7 and 42.5. With Peterman in for the Bears. Seattle, 5.5, 41.5. In a must-win game. Why? Who would be betting on the Rams here? The Sharps, I guess. I don't know any Sharp that would be betting against Seattle here. Philly 16.5, 42.5. So this game's climbing. The Giants probably aren't playing, which they'll be out in 1 week. They'll be out. Now, these are professional players. Why aren't they playing? Hey, Bobby Bo. Bobby Bo. Where were you yesterday, Bobby Bo? I did a whole economics class for you. Let's kick some fucking ass. Yeah, well, we had Tennessee last night. That was good. Those guys in Vegas don't know shit. Yeah. I've been saying that for years, Bobby. I'll show a line like I didn't know why Jacksonville was favored yesterday. They got. Don't you think they got robbed, Tennessee, with the pass that the guy's arm was clearly going forward, and they call it a fumble and a touchdown? Like, what the fuck was that? And then they didn't even review it. Look how quick the review took. It was like every other review is 5 minutes. They go to commercial. This review took all of 2 seconds. Yep, it was definitely a fumble, touchdown. The play calls the stance. They did it in 10 seconds. Yeah, okay. How come none of the others take 10 seconds? And it was not obvious, and it was clearly an incomplete pass. Yeah, Lawrence was about to choke again, but that fumble bailed him out, and they got the W. Well, my problem is Dobbs not recognizing a blitz. What was he doing? You've got a lead. Just throw the ball or run or whatever, but don't get caught in that situation with the blitzers coming at you, and then you're exposed. I mean, what are you doing? And that was Dobbs has been in the league apparently 5-6 years. Pittsburgh, some of these other teams. How does he not know? Hey, I might get blitzed, and I better look at it. But look how Lawrence did against blitzes. He was like 0 for 10 and turnover. I mean, he looked. This is why I say a quarterback stinks. It's when they get blitzed and they can't read it and they can't get out of it. Look what Lawrence did. He just went back. They blitzed him. He threw the ball on the ground like 5 times. He overshoots receivers. How about that one? He had a sure touchdown. He threw it into the first row. That's your Trevor Lawrence, fellas. So don't fuck with me on Trevor Lawrence. He's not good. And as good as Troy Aikman wants to date him, I don't care. He's not a good quarterback. I never thought Dobbs was an NFL caliber quarterback since watching him in Tennessee. No, he never was. He couldn't make the Pittsburgh team, and they did. See, this is the problem I have in the NFL. Why in the fuck are you even starting Dobbs? You can't find a better quarterback than Dobbs. You couldn't have drafted, as I tell you time and time again, all these quarterbacks that didn't even get drafted or 4th round or like Thompson Robinson, UCLA, or Rising, Utah. So you don't draft the guy, and then you're going to be stuck with Dobbs, and you could have had these guys, and then you would have won the game because with Rising, he'd have beat them flat out anyway. Let me quickly go through it. So we got the Niners 14.5. They don't really need it. Philly, it looks like the Giants are laying down. So Frisco, I don't know. Do they need it for the 2 seed? If Minnesota wins, then they get to play Green Bay. Is that the prize? Denver 4.5, up from 3. Why would people be betting on Denver? Okay, so San Diego doesn't play. Do you think Russell Wilson's playing in this game? No, I don't think so. Not for a long time. Dallas 7.5, 40.5. Now, why are people betting on Dallas? I guess Washington's playing a quarterback who couldn't even make the college team. So they got a real shit quarterback for Washington. So maybe that's why Dallas. And then Green Bay 4.5, 49. Why is this line not moving? Why is this line not up to 52, 53? This is my question, because this is an over of overs. Now, in the KC Oakland game, Stidham fools us, right? Stidham puts up a 38 on San Francisco's defense. This is the best defense in the league. Where did he go yesterday? All right, he had 1 touchdown. Where did he go? I mean, he just got sacked. They can't read blitzes. They get sacked. What the fuck? Didn't Frisco blitz him? I'm sure they did. So this is the confusing part. At home against the Niners, 30-some points. At home against KC, who's got a terrible defense, and he gets 13. And so this is the confusing part. This is why it's hard. Look at Mayfield, 10 points, 50 points, 10 points. And he'll get 10 points today if he's lucky. I don't even think they'll get 10. I think Seattle just shuts them out. Seattle, Coach Pete, one thing he knows how to do, and we all know it from watching the USC, when he gets a big game, he wins 99 out of 100. All right, the Texas game, I don't know what happened there, but they get fired up, and he's a good coach, and he's good under pressure, and he won the Super Bowl. Okay, we forgive him about not running the big guy, Russell Wilson, not reading a defense and throwing the interception instead of beating New England on just giving the beast another. All that should have happened in that play should have been a Dave Casper. You play action pass. If they would have play action pass beast instead of just having a two-guy pattern where everybody in the stadium knew what the play was. Apparently the cornerback said, we've watched it on tape 25 times. I know what the play is going to be. Well, why would you run a play like that? Why don't you run a play action Dave Casper? So if he just fakes it to Lynch and keeps the ball, as Russell Wilson was never stopped when he would just do that little fake option into the line and then keep it and roll out, or drag your tight end over the middle after the play action pass, it would have fooled New England. Why would you run that play? And this is where I'm saying these offensive and defensive coordinators are a bunch of fucking idiots. Even against Lawrence last night, these guys are wide open. The defense is just sitting. They don't cover. They take space up, but the guy runs through them, and they don't pick them up. Well, you're supposed to pick up the receiver. The receiver shouldn't be open by 10 yards. What the fuck are you doing? So that's really what happens, right? They don't know how to play a zone. They don't know how to play man-on-man, as these guys – all they do is this stupid crossing pattern where the guy's on the right slot and he goes up about 5-10 yards and then he cuts across to the left corner and he's wide open every time. I mean, that was Jacksonville's touchdown. What the fuck kind of defense is this? Who's the defensive coordinator? Who's the secondary coach? Yeah, he's going to do that. Nobody else pick him up now. Safeties. We know that we can all see he's going to cross, and we know where he's going, but don't pick him up. I mean, it's insane how bad the coaching is. And the offensive, Trevor Lawrence doesn't know how to read a blitz. I love it. I just love it. Oh, yeah, he's so good. And Aikman couldn't wait, to say how good he was. Oh, my God, Aikman is the worst. But that's all they do is they sit there and they're kissing Lawrence's ass. Then you guys think Lawrence is good because you're not listening to the Teaser King. I tell you, he sucks. He sucks. I watched him against Ohio State twice in the playoff. He sucked. He didn't complete 30% of his passes. They blitzed him. He didn't know what to do. If he didn't run a little bit, they would have, they'd have gotten killed. But he's not a good quarterback. When I say he's not a good quarterback, if you can't read the blitz, you're not a good quarterback. Josh Allen can't read the blitz. Tagliabue, all these guys, Fields, all these guys don't know what a blitz is. They don't know how to read it. They can't pre-read it like Brady and Rodgers do and Mahomes. They know when the blitz is coming, and they know what to do with it. That's why I say these guys are not bad. Yeah, anybody can throw a 20-yard pass, although Lawrence had trouble in the second half completing a 5-yard pass. Or that one touchdown, he threw 12 feet over the guy's head. All right, so what's going on today? So let's go down the list. Cleveland, Pitt. Pitt needs the game. The way it looks, New England's going to lose to Buffalo. Miami's going to lose to the Jets. You got Flacco against Skylar Thompson. We got to go with the best defense, and that's the Jets. I think the Jets win. I know Buffalo is going to beat New England. And that leaves Pitt. If they just beat Cleveland, which they will when they're in, and I think Pitt's going to be in. I think Pitt wins for sure. I think the others, Miami, not with Skylar Thompson against Flacco. Flacco's a veteran. And then there's no way New England's beating Buffalo now that Buffalo needs to win. So they need to win so they can, if they play Kansas City, it'll be a neutral site. What the fuck is this? And where are they going to have this neutral site? Either in Tampa or California? or at the Georgia Dome or whoever pays the most money, right? But that's not the NFL. The NFL is about home field advantage. That's what you work for. KC's got the 1 seed. They should have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They earned it, but yet now it's a neutral site because you cancel a guy who got injured. What the fuck is that? What is going on with this? So the whole thing's getting retarded, more and more retarded. So I like Pitt. Must-win game. Take Pitt in the points. Minnesota, Chicago, Minnesota. You got Nate Peterman for the Bears, who couldn't make a college team now. Here's Minnesota off of a huge loss to Green Bay. I love how they said, we want to knock Green Bay out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you lost by 40. The Lions are saying the same thing. If Seattle wins and the Lions are out, they're saying, well, we want to lock Green Bay out. Yeah, they'll lose by 50 today. Watch. So I like Minnie. Not only do you got Peterman, you've got them off of a huge loss, and I just don't see them not playing to at least beat the Bears to get ready for the playoffs. If you think you're ready for the playoffs off of a 41-17 loss and losing to the fucking Bears with Peterman, you won't even play a good first half next week, right? You're going to get crushed. So Minnesota, in my mind, needs the game. I don't know if they're going to play or not, but again, you got Peterman. So how's Chicago going to beat me with Peterman? Carolina, New Orleans, it's a meaningless game. I like the dog in the game. I don't think Kamara and Olave are going to play a lot. I think Carolina plays. It just seems like they're that type of team, and they're 19-2 as a road dogs. I do like Carolina here in a non-playoff type of game. I don't know that they all rest all their players and they just play the third. I don't even know if they have enough guys if they didn't play their starters to go to the third string. So regular game, this is a Carolina play as a road dog. In this play, I mean, so if they both go to their third stringers, I like the points anyway. I mean, then it's a toss-up. Cincinnati, Baltimore. I've got this game bet, Cincinnati -6. I bet it on Monday. It's now 11.5. Again, we know Lamar Jackson's out. We know Cincinnati now has to win because if they lose, they don't even play at home next week. So they have to win this to get the home game next week. And then if Buffalo loses, they'd get the home game the following week. And then it would be a neutral site with Kansas City. So Cincy now in a must-win. They're pissed off because they're getting fucked over. They should have won the division. They should never have canceled the game. So Cincinnati's going to kill Baltimore, and I'm going to enjoy that. LA, Seattle. We know Seattle needs to win. 5.5, 41.5. This is your free play. Take Seattle. Coach P against, I don't even know who the Rams quarterback's going to be. Mayfield, maybe. I don't know. Take Seattle, even at home, must-win game. San Diego, Denver. Denver, 4.5, 39.5. I like San Diego in the game. Is Russell Wilson going to play the whole game, but then they take out Herbert the whole game? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't see Russell Wilson playing the whole game. Denver has no offense. Is their defense going to play? San Diego, I mean, what are you going to do with them? Just nobody plays? So it's a tough game. I like San Diego in 10.5. I don't think they sit Herbert the whole game. I think you play these guys the first half, and then you go from there. But Denver, again, is Russell Wilson. You're going to play Russell Wilson the whole game in a meaningless game? He needs to sit out for the college game, right? New England, Buffalo 8.5. They have to win the game now, so they don't. If they win, they play at home, and if they lose, it's a neutral site or something. So Buffalo has to win. I mean, what the fuck's going on here? If you're gonna fuck around, and make these rules regular season, then you don't cancel the game. You're gonna make the game up. You got to play it. You should have played it the next day. All right, the guy hits with his chest instead of his shoulder. He has an injury. He's better. What are you fucking doing? So what happens if a guy breaks his leg today? Are you going to cancel the game? Is it a knee that cancels the game? The guy gets a concussion. It can't. We've had guys paralyzed. Daryl Stingley, he had to be carted off paralyzed. Game kept going on. So at what point are we canceling games versus not for an injury? It's fucking ridiculous. Morning, Alex. How are you? So love Buffalo here. New England's terrible. Mac Jones is terrible. Another good Alabama quarterback who sucks in the pros. Green Bay, Detroit. Green Bay 4.5, 49.5. Free play. Take this game over. I mean, this is the perfect over. The Lions score 30, give up 30. Green Bay scores probably 28. If I look at the last 4 or 5 weeks, they've been lighting it up. And their defense isn't anything special. They're not going to hold the Lions to 10 points. Like, it's not going to be like KC Oakland where Stidham didn't know how to throw a pass anymore. So he throws up 30 on the Niners, but gets 13 on Kansas City. And who's got the better defense? The Niners. So really strange. And then I don't know what Derek Carr did, but I looked at Mike Davis, the owner, Al's kid, and he's fucked. His coach, just Josh McDaniels, is fucking terrible. He's so clueless. They're putting pressure on him. Like, you can't call a play against the blitz or pressure. You can't chip with the tight end or whatever it is that you're doing. You are that clueless. You don't know how to defend it. So what good are you as a coach? You don't know what the fuck you're doing. So again, like this over. Green Bay, I'm sure, will win the game. They have to win no matter what Seattle does. If Seattle loses, Detroit plays. If Seattle wins, which they will, then Detroit's out. And then how are they going to play out? Everybody say, oh, what a great coach Detroit has because they played hard. Oh, my God. Yeah. Not a good coach. Philly and the Giants. I don't know what the fuck's going on here with the Giants. Nobody's going to Philadelphia. They're all staying home and with the wife. I mean, now they're minus 16.5. I assume Hurts is playing. I don't really care. 42.5. I don't even know what to do with that as far as over or under. I don't know. I've never seen a team, AKA the Giants, not show up. I saw the Giants twice as wild cards because they played the last week, get into the playoffs and beat New England, but that's not what's happening here. They're not playing. They're not trying. They're going to just play the third stringers and lose by 50 and think, okay, we're ready for the playoffs now because we sat everybody out and didn't try against Philadelphia versus beating Philadelphia and then, hey, we can win the Super Bowl. We just beat Philadelphia. So you really want Philadelphia to be the 1 seed, New York. Is that what you're saying? You want to lose on purpose and think you're just going to turn it on next week. Well, if that's what happens, the Giants, we're going to bet a house on whoever the Giants play and take them against the Giants because you cannot sit everybody out, play a game, and think you're going to turn the switch. How many times do we see Peyton Manning choke because they did the same thing? They didn't play the last week. They get a bye. Then the first game, they lose. Well, that's what's going to happen here. So if the Giants think they're better off by not playing, letting Philly be the 1 seed, wouldn't they be better if the Niners were the 1 seed or Dallas was the 1 seed than Philly being the 1 seed? So really stupid coaching by the Giants here. They're obviously not trying. I can't take Philadelphia. There's too many points in the NFL. Over under, I can't even figure out because I don't know. Hurts is injured. Is he going to play the whole game, or we got Minshew in the second half? So you're up 28-0. Are you going to keep Hurts out there? And how hurt is he? He didn't play the last 2 games. He's got a shoulder injury. Is the shoulder all better? No. So you're really fucking around. This whole game stinks. I don't like it. I wouldn't touch it with the 10-foot ball. I can't even go over under. Because I don't know what the Giants are doing. I've never seen this before. Houston, it's like a college bowl game where Shaquan Barkley's sitting out for the NFL draft. Maybe he's trying to get drafted again. What the fuck are they doing? Indy 337.5 against Houston. Like the game under. I mean, you got no quarterback in the game. We got Ellinger going against Mills, which neither team. Ellinger was okay at Texas. Mills sucked at Stanford. So I'd say this is an under game. I mean, they're just going to go through the motions and then get it off, and then they're both 2-win teams can go figure out how to screw up the draft. Arizona and the Niners, I don't know why this spread's so high. The Niners, obviously the Giants are laying down, so Philly's number one. The Niners have nothing to play for. Are they going to play for the 2 seed if Minnie wins? Is that what we're looking at? Really? I don't know. I think the Niners should win just because they should. I think they should play to get ready for the playoffs. Bobby's practiced before, so when you go to the playoffs, Bobby, don't you have practices and games to get ready, or do you sit out a week to get ready for a playoff game? I mean, fuck, I played. You get ready for a golf tournament, you go and you play golf. You don't sit there and go, well, we're not going to try. We'll just go to the tournament and I'll shoot 69. I mean, Jesus Christ. Hey, Prophet, that teaser you gave me is still active. Oakland over, Tennessee, yeah, and Green Bay. Well, that's a winner. You can cash that one, Green Bay over 39. That might be over at halftime because it's going to be a high score. I was glad you got the 10-teamer with Oakland, but you got lucky. I mean, they win by 18. You would have had 19, so you'd have won. But if KC gets held on 3rd and 10 at the 20, they kick the field goal, and then I win my over, and they would have won by 21. That's why I was a little tentative to go with the points like you wanted with Oakland. It was a better bet over, especially in your 10-teamer. But Tennessee should have won. They got fucked. And then Green Bay, I mean, that 39's a joke. That halftime will be in the 20s. So I don't know. And the Niners, are the Vikings and the Niners actually playing for the 2 seed? Really? So they can what? The winner gets Green Bay. I don't find that to be I'd rather be the 3 seed than the 2 seed. I can handle whoever the other wild card is. The Giants, I'd rather be the 3 seed and take on the Giants. The only problem is then if you play the 2 seed, but you won't because Minnesota's not going anywhere. Minnesota and the Giants are out in the first round unless they play each other. So the Niners, I don't know, are they playing and did they play the whole game or what's going on there? Atlanta 4.5, 40.5 against Tampa. I bet Tampa and 10.5 in this game. I like Trask. I don't care if Brady plays 1 down. Trask is a very good quarterback, a lot better than Stidham. You watch. He lit it up at Florida. He's very good. I'll bet him over. Who do you got, Atlanta? Ritter? I said to myself, is Ritter going to blow out Tampa? Is Tampa just going to lie down? Well, they're not going to just lie down. Brady might not play. I bet Brady plays the first half and the guys. Then they bring in Trask, and Trask lights it up in the second half. But I don't know. How's Ritter going to beat me by 10.5? Even against my second teamers, I don't see it. So definitely like Tampa and 10.5 here. Brady will play some. But I don't think Atlanta can win the game with Ritter. So they lost to fucking Arizona last week. Dallas 7.5, Washington. I don't understand what's going on here. Dallas plays a little bit, but if Philly gets out 28-0, then what does Dallas do? Now, again, I looked Dallas here. I took a Dallas-Minnesota teaser. Why? Minnesota, after getting embarrassed against Peterman, Minnesota's winning that game. Dallas, I hope Prescott sits out, and I believe Elliott will sit out once Philadelphia has a big lead. But I like Cooper Rush better than Prescott. So, again, it's thinking – fifth dimensional going, who's my backup? My backup's better than my starter. Cooper Rush and Trask. Now, he's not better than Brady, but I like him. And then Minnesota, just Kirk Cousins, God knows he needs to work. So I like Dallas here in the fact that if Cooper Rush is out there, they're going to win. Washington starting Joe Smith or whoever. Never heard of the guy. I don't even know if he went to college. So Washington's given up. So Dallas should win just on they're hot and they're playing well. And then the last game's Miami, the Jets. I took it under. Flacco against Skylar Thompson. Where are you going to get points? Miami, the Jets' strong defense will hold it down, but since they don't have an offense, they're not going to score a lot. Maybe you get in, maybe you get a 30-point game, but I got 43.5 under, so I like the under here. So of the playoff games, Pitt must win. Many I don't know. Are they playing for the 2 seed? Cincinnati apparently has to win. They're up to 11.5. Seattle, we know, is a must win. Buffalo is now a must win for Buffalo, so New England's gone. Detroit, Green Bay, we know that's a playoff game. Philly, that's for the 1 seed. The Niners, I don't know. Are they playing for a 2 seed or not? And then Dallas, if Philly loses, can win the division. Frisco, I think, wins the 1 seed, but I don't think it matters. And then Miami has to win, but they're not going to beat the Jets with that defense and Skylar Thompson. So I think Pitt comes in. I think Philly ends up being the 1 seed, although they're not very good. And then you got, I don't know, the Niners and Mini, 2 and 3, and then Dallas is the 5 seed. Tampa shouldn't be resting. God knows Tampa needs to work, but their coach is so stupid they don't know they don't even understand what the playoffs are. I always have another teaser on Oakland plus 19, Tennessee 16, and Detroit 15. Oh, you shouldn't have taken Detroit. You got to be careful with that Detroit 15 crap. I warned you about that. I told you Tennessee, but the problem is Green Bay is going to blow them out. It'll be high scoring was the play. Don't fuck with Detroit in 15. So that gets to another lesson of why did you bet both? Why did you take Green Bay over 39 and then fuck around with Detroit in 15 instead of just staying on Green Bay in 39, which is the free pick? There's reasons I like the game over more than I like Green Bay. Now, I would have taken Green Bay and the 6 the other way because Green Bay's not going to lose this game, and Detroit's not going to blow them out. You like Detroit in 15 like you like KC in 19 or Oakland in 19. Again, I told you to go over. This will be a very high-scoring game. It could get out of control because Detroit, they're going to start throwing pick sixes and stuff like that and turnovers. You're going to get the high score because the Lions have a weak defense. That's why I don't like betting weak defensive teams plus 15. Will it win? Possibly. Will the over win? Absolutely, 100%. That's why I give the free pick of that versus it would have been Green Bay. It never would have been the Lions in 10.5 in this situation. They're never going to win it. Green Bay's on a roll. I can also hedge Green Bay with live wagering. Well, I would do that after you've already won the 2. I would then, just trap the game. Why don't you do this? You've won the first 2 legs. So you got Detroit in 15 to close it. I don't know what you bet on it. That's up to you. Now, what I would do, fuck the live wagering, take Green Bay minus 4.5. Right now, bet them for whatever you bet, the plus 15. And you're going to have an 11-point trap. So now you got Green Bay minus 4.5 for, let's just call it $100. So let's say you have this 3-teamer, you're getting odds, you got $100 to win. Bet the 100 on Green Bay minus 4.5. No, it's 4.5. Well, it's 4.5. On here, it's 4.5. I don't know where you're betting. And see, it's 4.5. Green Bay, 4.5. So lay 4.5. You got 15. No, fuck the money line. Why do you want to go money line? What's your money line? Why do you guys like the money line so much? The money line laying 240. Why do you want to lay 240 when you can lay 110 and lay 4.5? You're already getting an 11-point trap. Hello, take the trap. Lay 4.5. You got 15. You're going to win one of them. You're probably going to win both of them. Green Bay probably win by 10 or 11 or 14 or something like that. So your odds are you're going to win them both. So why do you want a money line? Why do you want to lay 240? It's the same bet. So do you think Green Bay is going to win by 3? If you think Green Bay is going to win by 3, then don't even hedge it. I'm telling you that you should trap the game, and whatever you bet on the Green Bay and Detroit plus 15, I'd bet on Green Bay minus 4.5. That's what you should be doing. You got an 11-point trap, and you're probably going to win both sides of it, right? That's, as a professional, handicapper telling you to do that. Do it. Get away from the money lines. Okay, I'm going to lay that'll eat up all your shit if you go. No, just lay 4.5. What are you trying to do? Profit. What are you doing? Lay 4.5 at 110. Why would you want worse odds? You've got an 11-point trap. What the fuck are you trying to do? Why down to 3? You don't need a bigger margin. You already got an 11-point margin. Oh my God, you're going to win. Green Bay's winning the game, right? They're at home. They're going to win the game, okay? Because they're on a roll. Detroit's going to be out of it because Seattle's going to win. So they have nothing to play for. Green Bay will win the game. If you think that you need to go down to 3 points, then don't trap the game. Just take the Lions in 15. Now, my question for you is, what do you got? You got the Lions in 15. Okay, so it's a mystery why you took Detroit in 15 in the first place. But the fact that you think Detroit is going to be active in the game and play a close game is a big enough mystery to me in the first place. But since you got yourself into this predicament, thinking that the Lions are any good, just like thinking Trevor Lawrence is any good or Jacksonville is any good, then you got to just lay 4.5 and off you go. And Green Bay wins by 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 14. You win both ways, and that's what you got to do. But to fuck around with a money line or fuck around laying 3, you got to be out of your mind. Oh, my God. How hot were they against Carolina? And it's a divisional game. Okay, but Green Bay needs it to win, and Green Bay's hotter than Detroit if you want to go there. But that's not how you look at games. What do I teach? You look at matchups. Detroit has a terrible defense. Rodgers is going to light them up. Rodgers hates Detroit, and they got him at home in a must-win game. Green Bay's winning this game, but there's going to be a lot of points because neither team has a fucking defense. So you can't look at Detroit has been hot and not look at Green Bay's been hot. Green Bay's won 8 in a row or something like that, or 7 out of 8. They lost to the Buffalo game, and then they've been on fire since. They killed Minnesota. Is that what you want to go into? They beat Minnesota 41-17. Kirk Cousins looked like shit. All the interceptions. This is the team you want to fuck with, is Green Bay, who just crushed Minnesota. Rodgers has been so oh my God, that's because of the receivers. When I talk here, you need to listen. He didn't have receivers. Now he got that number 9, whatever, Christian guy, and then he's got his other guys back. They looked like pretty damn good last week against Minnesota, who's a lot better than Detroit. You are betting on a team with no defense, and I'm warning you, when you bet on teams with no defense, like a Detroit, you are in for trouble because they can't stop the wind. Now, you're hoping Detroit can score and keep up with Green Bay because we know they can't stop them. And Aaron Rodgers is focused. This is a playoff game, and Green Bay at home will win the playoff game. Look what they did against Minnesota. Look what they did against Miami. Miami's hot. They got 4 picks from Tagliavua, and they win 26-20. That's a 46. Then they put up against Minnesota 41-16. That's a 57. It's pretty fucking obvious they're scoring, and the games are being high scoring. Now, I would say Detroit is equal to Miami as far as bad defense. So that gives you Green Bay with 26 at least. Detroit will score their 20. At minimum is 46, which is why I'm telling you to bet it over. And then, you're hoping that. But that was at Miami. This is in Green Bay. Detroit doesn't like cold weather. They don't like to travel. They don't like grass. They're a pussy team, basically. They play in a dome, and these dome teams suck on the road. So what you have here is you're trying to out-analyze the professor, which is not very smart. And so you're saying, I know, no, we're taking Detroit in 15. They're hot. Who are they hot against? Can we go back to the Carolina game? What did they get? 350 yards rushing the ball? Okay, they beat the Jets barely on a 4th and 1 call at New York with who their quarterback was. It was Zach Wilson almost beat Detroit. Yeah, okay, Detroit beat Jacksonville at home. Okay, give you that. Otherwise, who have they beaten? Who did they win last week? Let's see. Detroit beat. Let's look at Detroit's last two games, okay? So last week they beat Chicago without Fields, 41-10. And they lost to Carolina 37-23. And they beat the Jets 2017. Who doesn't have an Aaron Rodgers? They don't even have a quarterback on their team. So you've got to analyze what they're doing. Yeah, they're hot. Are they really hot? They beat the Jets 2017, got their ass kicked by Carolina running the ball. And we know Green Bay's got runners. And then, so are you looking at the first game when Rodgers fixed the game and threw 3 interceptions in the end zone, and they didn't punt the whole game? They just went on long drives with no points, and Detroit won by a little in Detroit. So you don't fuck with Aaron Rodgers, and you're trying to fuck with him. Okay, that's the problem. Aaron Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes will win the games, right? Burrow is going to light up Baltimore today. Josh Allen, he's not in that class, but the good quarterback, the Montanas, as we talk about, and the Bradys, as we talk about, why are they the best? Because they would win this type of game. You got Aaron fucking Rodgers. You don't think he's going to win this game? Are you insane? You're betting the Lions, the losers, the team that hasn't won a title since 1950-something. They're not that good. They're 7-8. They're not even, or what are they, 8-8? No, I think they're 7-9. I mean, or maybe they're 8-8. I think they're 8-8. Okay, they're an 8-8 team. Green Bay's 8-8 because they had injuries to the receivers. The receivers came back. They're hot. Any team of those two that are hot, it's Green Bay, not Detroit. They're at home in the cold, in Lambeau, which Detroit hates, in a must-win game. We don't know if Seattle wins or not. Seattle wins, what's the Lions? They're going to be fired up? You think they're going to be fired up if Seattle wins and they're eliminated? They're going to play the same game? I don't know. All I can say is Detroit has no defense, and this game will be a very high-scoring game. That's what I know. You want to start picking it, then that's up to you. Rodgers is inconsistent. Rodgers has not been inconsistent. I got to watch the playback from yesterday's show, Professor, to see what you said about economics in football. Yeah, no way Packers lose tonight at home in a win or go home scenario. Probably, I think Green Bay wins just by less than 2 touchdowns. So trap the game. Remember, I have Detroit plus 15, not 5. Well, I know that. That's why I'm telling you to trap it. So let's say Detroit in 15, but so play Green Bay in 4.5. You can't lose. You're missing the third dimension of gambling, which is if I can bet on both sides and I can't lose, that's the bet I make. So you can't lose your first teaser, right? Was I right on Tennessee in 16? Yes. You had it twice. I told you Tennessee was the play in the game. They should have won the game. A bad call. So Tennessee, I'm right on. I'm telling you about Oakland. I was right on the over. Now you've got Detroit in 15. Let's say you've got $500 on this 3-team teaser. So if Detroit loses by more than 15, you lose 500. If they win, you win 500. We'll keep it very simple. What I'm telling you is now you don't have to risk the 500. You've got the 500. You've won the first 2 games. That's the hard part. And this is the fun part. You got the third team. If it wins, I win. If it loses, I lose. We don't want to take that risk. We're professional gamblers. Professional gamblers say take Green Bay minus 4.5 for maybe you go 300 or 400. So maybe if this is 500, you go 300. You can't lose. If Green Bay blows them out, you lose here, you win this. If Detroit, if Green Bay wins by 3, you lose this, you win this. So you still win. So let's say 500, 300. So you either win 200 or you lose 200, but you don't lose 5, or you win 8 if Green Bay wins by between 5 and 14. Even if they win by 15, you still tie. You don't lose the 3-teamer. So you have this 11-point trap you can play. Fucking play it. That's what I'm saying. You can't lose both sides because Green Bay wins, you win. And you might lose Detroit, but you probably will win both Detroit in 15 maybe okay. The over is the play, but okay. Then you want to go Green Bay. Don't go money line. That kills your profit. Now I'm laying 240 to win 100. Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? And then you want to buy it down to 3. Why would you buy it down to 3? Just lay the 4.5. You think these games are that fixed? They're gonna, look at KC. They won 31-13. You would have trapped it down. It ended up at 8.5. I was tempted to bet it when I saw 8.5. I didn't like 9.5, but I saw like an hour before the game because I did the show at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. When I went to swim and I checked, I noticed it went down to 8.5, and I was like, oh, I should take KC minus 2.5. That's where the number hit. So at this point, just trap the game. Trap it for a couple hundred, whatever you bet. I don't know what you bet on your teaser. That's up to you, but I would bet like half back on Green Bay, and you can win both. And I've done that with regular teasers. I remember a 2.5. I teased it to 8.5, and then I laid the 2.5 because it was a big bet, and they won by 3, and I won both ends of it. That's very profitable and happens a lot. What about Green Bay and Philly as a 2-teamer? I don't like Philly. Okay, Prophet, listen. I go through every game. Please listen. I don't like Philly. I tell you to take Seattle. I give you a free pick, Seattle. So I would take Green Bay over with Seattle. I would take Green Bay over with TCU over. I would take Green Bay over with Cincinnati, with Buffalo now. Dallas, Minnesota. So I give you the games, and then you want to go over here. I don't like Philadelphia. I don't know what's going on in the game. I don't know if Hurts is playing and how long he plays. Are the Giants really going to sit down and lose by 50 points and think they're going to do anything to play? I just don't see a team, whoever they send out there, just laying down and saying, "Oh yeah, go, you can kick our ass." I just don't see it. Giants are sitting out starting quarterback. Well, that's not a loss. And Jones sucks. So the backup's probably better than Jones, maybe Barkley. Well, if you told me Barkley was sitting out, I would then go, okay. The fact that Jones is sitting out, I like the Giants more because he sucks. He's not. Why is he sitting out? God knows he needs the work. Bobby, you got to watch the playback. Okay. To see what you said about economics in football. So what was your thoughts on the economics? Did you understand the BlackRock shit? Giants are locked into their playoff spot. So what? You don't. Bobby, can you explain not playing the week before the playoffs as a way to get ready for the National League playoffs as a good thing or a bad thing? You play to play. So what? So let's follow your logic. So why would Seattle beats the Rams? Detroit has nothing to play for. You just bet on Detroit. So you don't make sense. You on one hand, you take Detroit with nothing to play for, but on the other hand, you don't want to play the Giants because they have nothing to play for. I don't agree with that. I think that Carolina plays New Orleans. There's nothing to play for. There's something to play for the guys. It's easily a bad thing because most of the time you just lose your rhythm. Thank you, Bobby. That's exactly what I say. If you like Philly here, go bet them. You're going to lay 16. What, are you going to cut them down to 6? I mean, good luck. Were you going to play money line? What's the money line on this game? Giants, Philly, 1,400. You're going to lay 1,400 to win 100 because you're afraid of the line? And that's crazy. There are many examples throughout NFL history that shows the team with momentum goes deep or even wins the Super Bowl. Well, that's what I keep saying. That's why I'm surprised the Giants are just laying down today against Philly. I would think if the Giants beat Philly today, they would win the Super Bowl because they'd have the momentum going, fuck, we just beat Philadelphia. Like when they played Brady and Moss in the last game, it was meaningless, and it went like to overtime, and New England won, but the Giants played them, and then when the Giants played them in the Super Bowl, the Giants won, and it was a meaningless game. There's no such thing as a meaningless game. Profit, 2-team, money line parlay, I don't want to hear I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear money line. Why are we betting money line? I tell you, don't bet money line, but you want to bet them anyway. So you got to lay 1,400. God knows why would you put Green Bay in it? Minus 170. Is that supposed to be a good line? I don't know. Example: Packers is a wild card team, and the Ravens, the Giants both time. Well, that's exactly what I say. You don't like laying points, then bet the dog. Okay, one thing you have to understand: this is football betting that I'm teaching here, right? This is called handicapping. We lay points. I took Cincinnati and Buffalo today. I laid points. It doesn't matter. There's going to be scores. You think, oh, hell yes. That's what I've been telling this guy. Green Bay wins. The bet should have been, if he wants to do these 10-point teasers, he should have been on Green Bay in 6, not Detroit in 15. But he doesn't understand playing favorites also win. So KC against Oakland, KC's laying 8.5. They won by 18. Oh, they won. Jacksonville, Tennessee, the better team was Tennessee. That's why I took him as the dog. I think Pitt's a very good favorite. Minnesota is a very good favorite. Cincinnati, Seattle, Buffalo, Green Bay over. I'm not crazy about Philly. I like Dallas, and I like, if you want a dog, take the Jets under if you really are looking for a dog. Don't like Giants or Detroit. I don't like them either. I wouldn't play those games. I think Dallas wins because even if Prescott doesn't play, Bobby, I like Cooper Rush better. He's a better quarterback. Prescott throws too many turnovers, too many interceptions at the wrong time. He doesn't read a blitz. Cooper Rush is a better quarterback. I took Dallas. I played a Dallas-Minnesota teaser just because of that. I think Minnesota has to play, and the Bears are playing Peterman, their third stringer. I think Minnesota has to win the game after getting blown out by a very good Green Bay team who all of a sudden Prophet doesn't kind of the light isn't on in Prophet's head today, missing that they just killed Minnesota and you think Detroit's going to stay close. And then that's the first thing. And then I took Dallas because I like Cooper Rush. I think Pollard plays. And who the hell Washington's starting a quarterback I never heard of. And for me to never heard of this guy, he's got to come out of high school or something. So Washington, they're laying down. Talk about a team laying down. It's Washington, right? They're starting a quarterback. Why aren't they starting Wentz or Heineke? You go to this third stringer? Oh, my God. So what do you think? Washington's going to beat Dallas with the guy that couldn't make the Ohio State team? This is your quarterback, and you're thinking he's going to beat Dallas? Dallas is going to play. They've been hot. Not that matters, but they hate Washington. They should win the game. I took them. I don't know. Because I'm saying even if you take Prescott out, you're playing Cooper Rush. I'm fine with that. Like Tampa Bay, you're going to play Trask once you take Brady out, and Trask is a damn good quarterback. Stidham, we found, is not very good. He got a fluke game against the Niners somehow. But see, that's the thing. So he plays a good game against the Niners. Kansas City looks at the tapes, figures out this is how we beat them, and they shut him down. I was expecting at least 20 points from Oakland, and I got my 30 from KC. Now, I don't know. They ran that trick play, and it was called back for a bullshit holding penalty. Did they then score? Because I was getting Chinese food at the time. So did they then score, or did I lose my points because of that holding call? So much bullshit holding call. In the Tennessee game, well, there was a holding call on a Derrick Henry, finally goes 30 yards, and they call holding, which was a terrible call. That game was so fixed for Jacksonville. And like I said, even at the end, the quarterback's arm was going forward. That was not a fumble. And they reviewed it in 10 seconds. What we saw on the field is what it was. It was a fumble. Have you ever seen them call a review that quickly in your life? No, they got to go away for 5 minutes of commercials. The game that they're never that quick. So what the fuck was that all about? So I don't know, but That game smelled like shit. And Troy Aikman getting a hard on for Trevor Lawrence. Oh, Trevor, he's great. Look at him, he's great. And what's with Jim Nantz? These guys are like every play is the greatest play they've ever seen. What is that all about? Oh, what a great play. He made a fucking tackle. What are you talking about? Oh, it's so hard to watch these guys. Well, Prophet, just play it for like 3/4 of your play. You'll probably win them both. My guess is you'll win them both, right? Green Bay will win by at least 10. Enough to make you sweat. You're sold on Detroit. What are you doing? Why are you sold on Detroit? Detroit sucks. Believe me, I know. I live here. I analyze. They suck. They have no defense. Rodgers is going to eat them alive. To what extent do you think the NFL is scripted? I don't think it's scripted. It's like wrestling. We know that Ric Flair is going to win the match, but we don't know how he's going to win. And then he gets the figure four on, and then they figure for him, and then Hogan drops the leg, figure four, and then eventually there's a win, but it's not. It's Ric Flair's going to win is the script. How we get there is not scripted, and I think that's how the NFL is. Jacksonville was winning last night because of Trevor Lawrence. They're trying to make him into this. It's like basketball when they tried to make LeBron James this big thing, and more the player, not the team, not the league. And I think that's what the NFL is doing, which is a huge mistake. So they're trying to make Trevor Lawrence look good, and you guys are falling for it for some reason. Oh yeah, he's going to be a great quarterback. No, he sucks. He can't read a blitz. When they blitzed him, he didn't complete a pass. He didn't even read that the blitz was coming, and he got sacked 5 times. So let's not go there. Trevor Lawrence is not a good quarterback. He never will be a good quarterback. He needs to understand they blitz, and he needs to understand how to get out of it, and he can't even identify the blitz. So let's not be all Trevor Lawrence, please. My relatives are from Detroit. I know you told me that. I live in Detroit. I don't bet. I've never bet the Lions. I only bet them over, like here. Lawrence is definitely getting the golden boy. It's very hard to watch. I don't know who they play next week. Well, they're the 4 seed. So I can't wait to see Cincinnati or Buffalo pound them, or Kansas City. They're going to kill them. I do like my guy from Georgia, the number 1 pick. What was it, 41 or 44? The defensive end. Now, he's good, and I knew he was good. That was a good pick. And he started to look like a man among boys last night. So I like him. But again, see, here's the problem that everybody gets. They look good against Joshua fucking Dobbs in Tennessee, and they ran Henry, 50 times, as I told you. It was an under game, as I told you. It'd be an Army-Navy game, and that's exactly what you got. But they're doing it against Joshua Dobbs. Well, let's fast forward. Oh, here comes Mahomes. Yeah, go do it against Mahomes. Go do it against Allen. Go do it against Burrow. You're going to see a whole different game than you saw against Tennessee with Henry. So keep that in mind. And as you saw yesterday, they're much more defensive dominated games once you get into the playoffs. It becomes, I'm afraid to make a mistake, and my defense plays, and you run the ball more, and you punt the ball more. And that's what happens in the playoffs. That's why I love the dogs a lot more. So like in today's game, well, there really isn't any dog to play that I like. I like most of the favorites: Pitt, Minnie, Cincy, Seattle, Buffalo, Green Bay over. I don't know, maybe Frisco, Dallas, and then the under in the Miami games. I don't really like a dog. Well, my dog today is Tampa Bay and Carolina, and maybe San Diego. Oh, that's my dog plays today, not the other. But anyway, the big play is Seattle, and then Green Bay over, and that's what you focus on. So if I give you Green Bay over, why do you jump on Detroit? Or why do you jump on Green Bay? I've given you the play. That's the play. So Bobby, what did you think of the economic video? Did you like it or not? It was basically BlackRock just saying how they're criminals, and they're trying to make us communists for some reason. This Larry Fink / Hitler. I don't know. Great ideas, this guy. What a fucking loser. And the thing is, you really can't force it down our throats. If we don't want something, we're the market. We're always the market. because we got too much money and too many, and we're smart. We're not going to just sit there like the Russians and go, oh, well, whatever. Right. I mean, the Russians, they don't know any better, the Ukrainians, but not that they're not smart people. They're very good with computers and that type of thing. But in America, we have freedom, and you can't just take our freedom away and we're going to go, oh, well, that's okay. We'll just be robots for you, Larry Fink and BlackRock and the government. No, we say, fuck you. We take out a little guns and we shoot back. So you've got to understand we don't have gun control here, thank God, and free markets and gold, and so we can do everything. Did you buy some gold and silver yesterday, Bobby? Anyway, so that's your play. I looked 12.5 and 62.5 still on tomorrow's game, TCU, Georgia. I've given you that game over. That game will be very high scoring. Georgia's defense went to sleep. Maybe there's some injuries. They're not the same defense, but we are quick to adapt. You beat me once, you don't beat me more than once. So that game should definitely be a high-scoring one. And let's not forget Georgia. This Bennett is a very good quarterback. He came down and got the win last week against Ohio State. He, nice passes, a nice touchdown pass, good receivers, good running backs. I mean, this is going to be a high-scoring game. I mean, I also like the points. I think 18.5 in TCU is a joke also. I'm not sure. I don't think Jacksonville could have beat TCU or Georgia by 18 points. I don't think they could beat either of them. A normal Georgia team would have handled Jacksonville with the pass rush, but their defense doesn't look as strong. But this is going to be an over game tomorrow, but that's tomorrow's game. So, again, there's really not much. Minnesota winning makes Frisco win for the 2 seed. Are they really caring? Seattle knocks out the Lions. That doesn't really matter. We got the game over. Pretty boring night game, Green Bay and Detroit, but anytime Detroit's on, it's boring. Philly, the Giants, that spread's way too high. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. If the Giants lay down and think they're going to do anything in the playoffs, or are they just happy to make the wild card, I guess. But if the Giants think they're doing anything, and sitting out Daniel Jones is fine because he sucks, and I'd rather see their backup, whoever that is. But if you start sitting Barkley and the defense down and you don't try to beat Philadelphia, you're fucked. So then at 4:00, we have this dilemma. If Philly jumps out, Frisco doesn't play. Does Dallas play? But if Philly's losing, all of a sudden the Niners are playing and Dallas is playing. So it's a really quadrant. I took Dallas because I don't mind Cooper Rush. That was the thought. But Frisco, they're not taking Purdy out. McCaffrey will probably sit out if it's meaningless. Their defense, they'll probably rest a few players, but it's such a strong defense. So I think Frisco's been playing to win the last few weeks. Even though they clinched, they still are playing. They still can be the 1 seed if Philly loses. And I'm not sold on Philly. I don't like their coach. I don't like Hurts. Minshew got some bad coaching, bad offensive coordinator calls. So I'm not sure what to do with that. Anyway, Bobby must be having Chinese food or pig's ears or something. I haven't heard from him. All right, so that's what we got, and then we'll clean it up. So these stupid rules affecting Buffalo, Cincinnati, and KC now. Apparently, if Cincinnati loses, they might not even be at home, even though they have the better record, which is a joke. Buffalo needs to win, and then it'll be a neutral site if they play Kansas City in the title, which is absolutely ridiculous. KC's already won. So KC's already clinched the 1. So now Buffalo's playing to get a neutral site game in the championship game with Kansas City. What the fuck is that? The NFL is losing its mind rapidly. So just be careful. But I've never seen anything this stupid in my life where Cincinnati has to win to get a home game next week, and even though they got the better record, it's just stupid. And why aren't they making that game up? Or why didn't they play on Tuesday is beyond me. Why they even canceled the game is beyond me. It's just another injury. It happens all the time. Bill Line just moved to – no, it didn't just move. I told you that. I told you that in the beginning. Well, why don't you go Google it? It's been 16 and a half since I came on. Strong chance Lamar Jackson plays in the wild card round. Who gives a fuck? NFL players resting. Who is playing sitting in Giants Eagle? Here you go. Draft Nations. We go over the list of players who will sit out the final week. The New York Giants take on Philly in Week 18. Kickoffs 4:30. Both teams have already circled their playoff spot, and the Eagles will look to keep the 1 seed ahead of the Niners. Players resting for Giants. The large spread heading into the game is a minor hint from the odds makers that we can expect to see some Giants starters resting this weekend ahead of the playoffs. The Giants elevated Davis Webb from the practice squad to start at quarterback this week. Daniel Jones will likely be joined by several other key players. Quarterback Davis Love is expected to start. Multiple sources tell me, furthering my report on Webb being active, spurning Dolphins' interest in playing Sunday. Per their injury report, who cares? Players resting for the Hurts is expected. So the big line is based on this Webb. So as a team, why am I starting Davis Webb? How does that benefit me having this idiot third stringer start? What's my benefit of that? I mean, he's not even my backup. Where's my backup? So I don't even have the second stringer out there. All right, well, it's kickoff time. Let's see. Atlanta went up to 5.5. So Brady's probably not playing, but I don't care because I got Trask in my back pocket. Buffalo 8.5, Cincy 11.5, Mini 6.5. I've never seen so many line movements. Seattle 5.5, Philly 16.5, 49ers 14.5, Denver 4.5, Dallas 7.5. And Green Bay hasn't moved at 4.5, 49.5. So I'm the Giants, and I sit out my shitty quarterback, Daniel Jones, for a shittier one, Webb. Now, why is Webb on my team? If Webb can't win the game, why is he on my team? He's a practice squad guy. Why do I have this guy in my practice squad? Why don't I have, better guys on it? Don't tell me you can't find them. I find them all the time. So I got a guy I'm going to start him. I'm not even starting my second teamer. I'm starting my third team quarterback. Does he even belong in the NFL? Why would I play him? What is my benefit? So I start him to lose to Philly. What's the benefit? Whoever this Giants GM and coach should be fired. Because there's no upside to doing this, right? You're not You're not playing to win, which is the first problem. This bullshit of I got to rest my players is another problem. You rested them in preseason. You rested them the first 2 weeks, which is just basically preseason. You need more rest. You got a bye or 2 buys. The players need rest to get ready for the playoffs. You think rest gets you ready for the playoffs, or do you think playing gets you ready for the playoffs? Well, Bobby just backed me up and said, no, it's not. It's not playing. You lose your rhythm, and that's what I'm saying. So the Giants, I'm gonna lock whoever the Giants play next week. As you have no chance if you bet the Giants next week. I'd rather bet the Jets. I mean, at least they fucking try. This is an embarrassment. This Webb guy, why do you start him? Daniel Jones should play the first half. You're basically giving Philly the 1 seed. Is that a smart move? Does that benefit you? They kicked your ass the first week. Now you're going to lay down to them. And then if you do win your game next week, you get to play Philly at Philly. Based on them beating you 100-0, are you going to have anything? You're going to be so psyched out, it's going to be a joke. So what are you doing? You're handing Philly the 1 seed. Why? Why does that benefit you? This is just beyond stupid. So if you want to lay 16.5 with Philly, be my guest. I don't want anything to do with it. This smells. I don't think Philly covers. I don't know what Hurts plays, but this smells. Well, I don't know if Barkley's out or how long he'll play for. Where you usually check for player updates? Well, there's different. Covers is for injuries. When I'm on Scores and Odds, it's more for injuries. So I actually went to Google and said, what players are playing this weekend or are sitting out this weekend? I did that for the bowl games. What players are in the portal? What players are getting ready for the draft? And that's where I would see some, because where are you really going to get the information? And then here it's the same thing. So I just Google what play, and then it brought up that thing on the Giants. Really, all it said was the quarterback's out. It didn't say Barkley was out. It said Barkley might sit out, but he should be. As far right now, he's playing, but how long is he going to play? So that's what you have. Is it's just too many points. Okay, KC was laying 8.5 down to 2.5 makes sense, and they win by 18. Jacksonville doesn't cover. Just stick with what's good. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Seattle, Buffalo, the Detroit over, and maybe Dallas, and then the Miami under. Why fuck around with Philly 16.5? You don't even know if Hurts can play. He's obviously got a seriously injured shoulder if he sat out 2 weeks. Minshew couldn't pull it off because the offensive coordinator sucks. Well, he still sucks. Philly doesn't win every game by 20 points anyway. I'm not a big Philly fan. I do like their defense, which is good, but I don't think I bet them too many times. I know I bet them last week against New Orleans. They lost. So there you go. You're going to trust them? Be my guest, but I don't want anything to do with it. Why are the Bills only 8.5? Shouldn't they be at least 2 touchdowns? No, because New England needs to win. New England's playing for something, and Buffalo was 6, so it went to 8.5 because it's a playoff game, basically, and New England needs to win to get into the playoffs. That's why it's 8.5, and the perception is New England's not that bad. So, again, you're betting perception. Just like the perception of gold is, it's not a good thing. Well, the perception is New England needs to win. Therefore, it's not too much. So it's 8.5. In this case, I like Buffalo because now they're playing for something. I liked them anyway. I thought they'd beat them. Buffalo doesn't sit their players there. They realize the timing. But it doesn't matter because since KC's the 1 seed, Buffalo wants to go into the playoffs on a high note, not just getting out. Now, will the players play the whole game? Well, now they will, because now they need it. But if they didn't, would they have played? And they didn't bet Buffalo until I heard this incredibly stupid rule where that they need to win to get a neutral game against Kansas City in the title. Jesus Christ. Buffalo just scored on that. Well, there you go. I'm already winning. I look for Cincinnati to light it up. They're so pissed right now. They've been so fucked. So I look for them to light it up. Probably win by 30 points. Because Baltimore doesn't have any offense. And they need to win, apparently. So there's Burrow, they'll go wild on them. Absolutely. So that's football. So the games are starting. So that's it. So really everything's now comes down to the late game. So Seattle must win. Like them. Detroit, Green Bay, based on what happens with Seattle, makes Detroit play or not. Green Bay has to win regardless of what Seattle does. Then you got Philly, Frisco, and Dallas at 4 o'clock. We assume Philly's going to win because they've got, Joe Blow at quarterback for the Giants. How they think that's a smart move is beyond me. Frisco, I don't know. Who knows how this is what I don't like about this week when they've kind of clinched. And the same thing with Dallas. They're the 5 seed unless Philly loses, but if they don't lose, does Dallas play? But again, I like Cooper Rush. I like the guy on Tampa, so Trask. So I like those. I'm betting those guys. I'm not counting on Brady to play, or I'm not counting on Prescott. And to tell you the truth, I'd prefer not playing. I prefer Dallas without Prescott. I think we're looking at a Buffalo blowout here. Well, they're pretty pissed. So now that makes it Miami and Pittsburgh for the playoff spot, which makes them play. So therefore, Miami with Skylar Thompson isn't going to do shit. They're a choke. They got a really weak coach. And, all they got is Tyreek Hill anyway. So they don't have a defense. This should be an under game with the Jets. And then Pitt, I see Pitt beating Cleveland because they know New England's, Buffalo's playing, so New England's losing. So then it's just if Miami loses, we're in. So look for Pitt to win. I did bet Pitt. I think I played Pitt Cincinnati in a teaser. But that's what we got. So anyway, let's go watch some football. Good luck today. Again, so at night you got the Seattle at 4 and then the Green Bay over. Those are your free picks. And then TCU over tomorrow night. And then we'll go from there looking at next week's playoff games tomorrow. So we'll analyze these. www.teaserking.com. You can get my email if you want to talk to me there. Otherwise, I'll be watching. I'll probably go to do my swim. My foot feels fine, so I'm happy with that. And that's about it. So have a great day, everybody. Good luck to you. Prophet, you're sure making it much more difficult than you should. Just listen to the professor. That's why we do the class, so you can understand the why of I'm betting this or that. And then you go off on your own. Now, okay, not that I'm right 100% of the time, and not that you shouldn't try to go off on your own, but just be careful. It's not easy out there. Never bet teams with weak defenses, and you just did. So just be careful. Tennessee was a strong defense, and you bet the over in the Oakland KC because both of those teams have weak defenses. So you're betting a team with a weak defense is not good. All right. Take care. www.teaserking.com. Have a nice Sunday, everybody.